Hey guys, welcome back to AFK Journey. In today's video, we're doing an updated tier list over here on Pridewin for the new season. And before we get into it, we did hit 30,000 subscribers on the channel, so massive thank you to you guys. We're going to do a $100 giveaway in this one. All you have to do to enter the giveaway is be subscribed and leave a comment, and you'll go into the draw. You can check the change log up the top and the list criteria if you want to, but basically in this one, we've updated the Dream Realm ratings. Basically, every character had their ratings adjusted, so we won't be listing all of them here. So there was a big shuffle with the season in the tier list, and that's the one we're going to focus on mainly in is the Dream Realm, because the rest of the stuff, the pre exclusive weapon story, the post EX weapon story is all pretty much where it was. Trial of Abyss as well, and then battle drills hasn't really changed too much because the same principles the same, and PvP still sort of has the same firm meta that it's had for a while. So we're going to leave those. Also, don't forget you can go over here to table mode if you're curious on a specific character and you just want to see what their general performance is. You can do that. You can go over here and you can click show on each character and find out some more detailed information about them. But that is basically what we are looking at over here. But like I said, I want to go ahead and look more at the Dream Realm overall rating, because I think this is a very interesting one as well. But just over here as well, you can actually, if you're curious on Dream Realm specific bosses, you can also check out here. Also, Pridewin do have their Dream Realm section of the website as well, which you can go check out. And then also Analytica also has some great resources over there. I'll leave that linked in the description as well if you're looking for more. Plus, I have videos on all of these bosses. So let's jump back over into here and let's take a look at the pyramid mode, because there have been some interesting changes. So if we go over to Dream Realm overall, down here, there it is. So up in the S tier, obviously we've got Odie up in the S tier firmly now. The dude is just absolutely massive. Merrily still holding a spot up there. She is still optimal in some teams as well, especially if you're not a whale and you don't have every unit built. She is still a fantastic unit. I made my video yesterday talking about shop priorities. I still think she is a very high priority for players. Now Corrin, I'm kind of surprised to see Corrin up here, because he's that character that's fallen off. He's still great if you do have him invested, but he's not like I wouldn't say he's like the best option in many teams. I don't even think he is the top option in Necro Drakon at the moment. I think people can get more damage throughput using a Kruger, but I'm seeing mixed results on that. But yeah, he's still obviously really good in Necro Drakon, but he has kind of fallen out of the meta in other places in favor of more survivability and stuff like that with Coco being absolutely amazing at the moment. So that is what we are looking at in damage dealers. Now we're going to go through the other tiers as well, but let's go through the rest of the S+ tier. Now Cassidy has seen a big rise due to her effectiveness in the magic based teams, due to Odie, due to having the new artifact as well. So she has been working really well in them. We did see her before the season. She was still seeing some good use in sub teams for some of these battles. Just keep in mind, you do need her heavily invested. You do need that Mythic Plus to get her to have this functionality. So don't be just slapping in a base copy of Cassidy and think she's going to dominate. She does get her usage once she gets more heavily invested. But then we do have her going in teams with Odie and sometimes Elsa as well, amplifying all that damage, which is actually a really solid combo. I have seen some crazy damage numbers in those type of combos. Then we have Coco up in the S+. Coco's just the survivability that she's providing and also the amplification is just fantastic. She's honestly one of the primary free-to-play units in my opinion in the game. She's so good for campaign, she is so good for bossing, and she really helps you out in those two key aspects of the game. With PvP, you can sort of cheese it on offense. Defense, you're going to struggle till you build full meta teams, but you know, you can do the Rainier cheese in PvP offense to get yourself a ton of wins, and then just sort of she is that fantastic unit to cover you in the other aspects of the game. Obviously Rainier is still absolute top tier. I am still saving my summons and my shop currency to see if we get that Scorpion dude as a hyper gen, because I want to try and get as many copies of him as possible if he comes into the game. But if he doesn't drop, if we don't get an announcement about a Celestial or hyper gen after Soren, I'm probably going to go all in on Rainier, because I'll be pretty close by then to being able to get him to Mythic Plus, and then I will have that viability out of him. The next one, obviously Smokey and Mickey, not too much needed on that one. Amazing in just about every fight. Some fights he will get subbed out, but I mean, generally fantastic unit. And once again, Smokey and Mickey, once again, get like, and you got to consider the season abilities that these guys get as well, which obviously we know Odie's is OP for his damage, but Smokey and Mickey getting that further amplification on your main DPS is absolutely fantastic. And then we have Thorin, who just keeps getting better because now he has further damage amplification tied into him with his season ability, and dude is just amazing. Like Thorin. If I had to choose one character, like for a brand, like for like the best radar banner that we could get, like now, like for people that don't have him built yet, it would be Thorin or Mickey, Smokey and Mickey. But like, yeah, dude, Thorin is just absolutely amazing and just got better value with the season as well. As we move into the S tier, we have Elsa. Now, as I mentioned, I'm seeing actually some crazy damage numbers out of Elsa. Also, her new, what do they call it? The Juror's Trial things. Dude, I always forget the names of things. But that's really helping her out a lot as well. So that's something else that had to be considered is the extra buff we are getting from those on top of that. But Elsa, honestly, all around as a character drop, I think Elsa was a pretty good one. Once again, she wasn't that game-breaking character, but she is definitely super viable. She does have that issue where she likes to commit suicide after her first ult, and that is like the biggest issue with Elsa. But in general, good all-round unit. Brian, once again, Brian just one of those sub-units. I don't think you'll find him in, unless something's changed and I missed it, I don't think you'll find him in any of the, like, most optimal teams, but if you have him built, it's just a decent sub option. And then Floribel as well. Floribel being fantastic, especially against the bear, a bit against the alpha bear for the honey. The honey has to spread onto all her ads. Now, in the early stages, I was finding Cecilia to actually work better, even though Cecilia only had one ad. But I do think it depends what difficulty of the boss you're up to, there's a lot of RNG factors behind that, but Floribel definitely fantastic for that. Then obviously we have Kruger being the Death Shredder, dropping, like, not being as good this season because we are more magic damage focused, but still having definitely his usage. And then we have Tamisha, who is obviously just a great all-round unit, but really finding that that peak usage in the Necro Drakon, where she really shines with the movement aspect as well as stuff like that. Now, I don't want to cover too much in here. Shakir, you will see Shakir in a couple of the fights working really well. A heavily invested Shakir is a solid thing in my opinion. He's one of those units, he kind of seems like he's mid-range, but once you get using a decent Shakir, I do really love this guy. Like, you know, her obvious effects with the additional boost at the start as well. Like, as just an all-round okay unit, but once again, she's one of those units you won't invest into early on because you're probably going for Damien and Arden. So, I mean, we're getting into like the fringe characters, but the one I wanted to mention is Citrana. Citrana getting a climb up as well into the A tier, thanks to the addition of the magic meta as well. And then the last two I kind of want to look at here is going to be Vala and Seth. Once again, we are looking at this for Dream Realm, but keep in mind Vala, Seth, and Shakira as a combo in any bosses that get below 50% can be really nice. Unfortunately, you can't trigger those procs until you do get the bosses low, so we do have that issue. But if in world bosses and stuff like that, or in battle drills when enemies are below 50, these two really start to shine, especially when paired with the buffing capabilities of a Shakir. And the other thing I wanted to mention with Shakir, we are in a heavily ranged meta. If we look at all our damage deals, we've got Merrily, we've got Odie, we got Brian, we got Floribel. Elsa does go into range when she uses her ult, but then she can dash out. And so we're in a heavily ranged meta for our damage dealers. I do still think Shakir can climb up if we get like a peak melee damage dealer where his buffs can have more effect, especially if we get into the stage where we're using 2 melee DPS in an optimal team to then further buff them by Shakira. I think that would be an interesting thing, but here's one that I definitely see having much more future value on top of his current value that he does have in certain fights. But that is a look at the changes. Once again, the big thing is we are shifting into that magic meta in this season, but once again, Merrily and Corrin still holding their places. I wouldn't be surprised if Corrin was like a in-between tiers type character. Honestly, I could see it being like These two in this tier, and then Karin and Elsa in between S and S plus is kind of where I feel like, so Karin would be like a low S plus, and so would Elsa, or they'd both be a high S. They'd be like in that in between phase. I feel like that would be a fair placement, because I don't think Karin is actually as good as Odie or Marilee at this current stage, and I do think Elsa is better than these two at this stage, but once again, she doesn't quite pair up to these two in my opinion. So I think that would be like an interesting placing for them. But once again, that we're getting into mega sweat territory on nitpicking where things are going, but that is pretty much it. Honestly, the meta has stayed pretty consistent the way through, and the good thing I do like about this one is in this season, it was Odie that got the boost as opposed to some character that no one had built. The fact that Odie got the boost, and he's the character that we still recommended everyone to build as their first A-level character, I think it was just like a nice transition. Like, it didn't hurt too bad that a new character was like, you know, the best DPS over like something like Marilee, because Odie was still the one you were building first, at least to Mythic Plus anyway. So I think it was a pretty safe play and a pretty comfortable shift in the game, in my opinion. But once again, let me know what you guys think. And as always, thanks for watching. Hope you have an awesome day, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Cheers.